as I walked through the dense underbrush of the enchanted forest. The soft rustle of leaves beneath my feet was the only sound that broke the silence. I had always been drawn to this place, where the ancient trees seemed to whisper secrets to one another in the wind. But today, I wasn't here to indulge in the mystical aura that permeated every corner of the forest. I was on a mission to gather rare herbs for my ailing mother, who lay bedridden in our small village on the forest's edge. As I rounded a bend in the path, I stumbled upon a clearing, and my ears perked up at the sound of hushed voices. I recognized the speakers as two of the village elders, their faces twisted in a mixture of fear and urgency. They spoke of a dark secret, one that had been hidden for centuries, and how it threatened to destroy the very fabric of our village. I strained my ears to listen. My curiosity piqued. They mentioned an ancient ritual, one that required a terrible sacrifice, and how it was to be performed under the light of the next full moon. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I realized the gravity of what I had just overheard. I knew I had to tell someone, but who could I trust? The elders had always been tight-lipped about the forest's secrets, and I suspected that they would stop at nothing to keep this one buried. I decided to seek out the wisdom of the forest's ancient trees, hoping that they might offer some guidance. As I wandered deeper into the forest, the trees seemed to close in around me, their branches tangling above my head like skeletal fingers. Days passed, and I found myself lost in the labyrinthine paths of the forest. I had given up hope of finding my way back to the village, but the trees seemed to be leading me on a wild goose chase. It was then that I stumbled upon a clearing, and in the center of it stood an enormous tree, its trunk twisted and gnarled with age. I felt an energy emanating from the tree, as if it were calling to me. I reached out a hand, and as my fingers made contact with the trunk, I was flooded with visions of the past and present. The tree showed me the history of the village, how it had been founded by a group of refugees who had fled a great war. It showed me the rituals and ceremonies that had been performed to ensure the village's prosperity, and how they had been corrupted over time. And it showed me the dark secret that the elders had been hiding. A secret that threatened to destroy everything that the village held dear. I saw that I was the only one who could stop the ritual. But I was torn. My mother lay dying, and I knew that if I didn't return with the herbs, she would surely perish. As I stood there, weighing my options, I heard a rustling in the underbrush. It was a figure, cloaked in shadows, who emerged from the trees. It was a woman, her face deathly pale, and her eyes sunken with a deep sadness. She introduced herself as Aria, a sorceress who had been banished from the village years ago. She told me that she had been watching me, and that she knew of my dilemma. She offered to help me, to teach me the ways of magic, and to aid me in stopping the ritual. I was torn. On one hand, I had a duty to my mother, to save her life. On the other hand, I had a duty to the village, to stop the ritual and save it from destruction. Aria saw the conflict in my eyes, and she reached out a hand. "You don't have to choose," she said. "You can have both, but you must be willing to change, to transform yourself into something more." I looked at her, and I knew that she was right. I took her hand, and together we set out on a journey to stop the ritual and save the village. The night of the full moon, we crept into the heart of the forest, where the elders were gathered around a great stone altar. They were chanting and swaying, their eyes closed in ecstasy. Aria and I watched from the shadows, our hearts pounding in unison. And then, in a burst of courage, I stepped forward, my voice ringing out across the clearing. "Stop!" I cried. "You cannot do this." The elders turned to me, their faces twisted in rage. But I stood firm. Aria joined me, her magic swirling around us like a shield. Together, we fought off the elders and their minions, and we stopped the ritual. The village was saved, and my mother was healed. But more importantly, I had found a new sense of purpose, a sense of duty to the forest and its inhabitants. I had changed transformed myself into something more. And as I looked at Arya, I knew that I had found a new love. One that would stay with me for the rest of my days. The forest had given me a gift of redemption. And I knew that I would never forget it.